You're not behind in AI because you lack access. You are behind because you're interacting with at a wrong level. Most people today are still using AI to generate outputs. A much smaller group has started using AI to design systems, and that's difference. That difference is not incremental, it is structural. Let's define the problem precisely. When a new technology emerges, people initially map it to the existing behavior. They use it as a faster version what they already know. In the case of AI, that behavior is search, writing, basic assistance. So naturally, most users interact with AI as a better Google, a faster writer, a smarter assistant. This is intuitive, but it is also limiting. To understand what's actually happening, we need a more rigorous model. AI usage today can be divided into three layers. Layer 1, that is output generation. Layer 2, that is the task execution layer. And layer 3, that is the system delegation. Each layer represents a different level of abstraction, and each layer produces a different type of advantage. At layer 1, AI functions as a generator. You provide an input, a system produces an output. Examples include writing content, generating code snippets, answering questions. The human remains responsible for framing the task, evaluating the output, integrating the results. This creates efficiency, but it does not fundamentally change how work is organized. At layer 2, the system begins to execute bounded tasks. Instead of generating fragments, it completes units of work. For example, analyze this data set and provide insights, refactor this code base, create a structured report from these inputs. Here, AI handles multiple steps internally. However, the human still initiates each task. The system is reactive. Layer 3 is where the transformation occurs. At this level, the user is no longer assigning tasks, they are defining systems. A system consists of input transformations, output constraints, feedback loops. Once defined, the system operates continuously without requiring repeated prompts. This is a conceptual shift behind what people refer to as AI agents. But the terminology can be misleading. What matters is not the label, what matters is the change in interaction from episodic usage to persistent execution. From an economic standpoint, this transition is significant. At layer 1, AI reduces marginal effort. At layer 2, AI reduces time per task. At layer 3, AI reduces the need for ongoing human intervention. This changes the cost structure of the knowledge work. And when the cost structure changes, behavior follows. Specifically, when recurring processes no longer require human attention, the constraint shifts from execution to system design. You can think of this as progression: labor, automation, infrastructure. At the labor stage, human performs tasks differently. At the automation stage, tools assist. At the infrastructure stage, systems operate independently. Most users are optimizing labor. A smaller group is building infrastructure. Consider a recurring workflow in an organization: information intake, filtering, summarization, formatting, distribution. Traditionally, this requires continuous human involvement. At layer 1, AI assists individual steps. At layer 2, AI executes segments. At layer 3, the entire pipeline becomes autonomous. Once the pipeline is autonomous, its a marginal cost approaches zero. However, moving to layer 3 requires a different way of thinking. Humans are naturally action oriented. We ask, what should I do next? System design requires asking, what should happen without me? This is a fundamentally different cognitive frame. This explains why most users struggle to extract value from advanced AI systems. The limitation is not technical, it is conceptual. Without system thinking, users default to repeated prompting, which traps them at layer 1. This is also a shift in how instructions are communicated. At lower layers, interaction requires specificity. You define exact outputs. At higher layers, interaction requires clarity of intent. You define objectives and constraints, determines implementation. Lower level interaction: write a 500-word summary in a professional tone. Higher level interaction: create a system that summarizes incoming information daily and delivers actionable insights. The second is not a prompt, it's a specification. This is why modern AI systems feel different. They do not merely respond, they plan. Planning introduces decomposition of tasks, sequencing dependency. These are the properties traditionally associated with human reasoning. Another important property emerges at this level: feedback loops. A system can evaluate its output, detect inconsistencies, attempt corrections. This reduces the need for constant human supervision. However, precision is important here. These systems are not fully autonomous, they operate within defined boundaries. Their performance depends on quality of initial design, clarity of constraints, availability of feedback. The broader implication is not that AI replaces work, it is that work becomes reorganized. Specifically, work shifts from execution, design, oversight. Execution decreases in value. Design and judgment increase in value. This leads to a transformation in roles. Individuals move from performing tasks to managing systems to designing systems. This is analogous to earlier technological shifts. For example, industrialization reduced manual labor. It increased demand for coordination and management. The scaling effect is also important. A task executed manually scales linearly. A system scales exponentially. Once deployed, it can operate continuously. Without proportional increases in effort, this is where competitive advantage emerges. Not from using AI occasionally, but from embedding AI into persistent systems. The advantage compounds over time. This creates a widening gap between the two groups, those who interact with AI episodically and those who integrate AI structurally. The second group accumulates leverage. The first group accumulates experience. Experience improves performance. Leverage multiplies output. If we step back, the pattern becomes clear. AI is not simply enhancing productivity, it is changing the unit of productivity from individual actions to systems. So if it feels like others are moving faster with same tools, they are not necessarily more capable, they are operating at a different level. And once you begin to think in systems, you realize that the real shift was never about better answers. It was about designing something that continues to operate. If you found this useful, take a second to like the video. It genuinely helps more people discover content like this. And share it with your friends or colleagues who should be paying attention to what's happening in AI right now. Let's set a small target, 1000 likes on this video. And if you want to stay updated on where AI, technology and systems are heading, make sure you subscribe. Thank you.